we have a button that doesn't do a gosh darn thing. Let's make it do a gosh darn thing. In fact, let's make it do the gosh darn thing where it changes the heading. So we already have the button. So we just need to make something happen when the button gets clicked. To do that, we can add an event handler, add an event listener, excuse me, that will then call a function, which we'll call an event handler. Yes?
Are we starting a new
That didn't take long. No, I'm sorry?
Are we starting like a new file or something?
Nope. Nope. Yep. I'm just starting from where I left off last night. So this is my index.js from last night. So I left it with this in there. Right. Okay. So I am doing the homework live in class before we move on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's write a function for what's going to happen when we submit it. So let's say const update heading equals function. And let's have it just grab that heading off the page. Const heading equals documents.querySelector. H1, that ought to do right. We did this in class in CodePen, so we're old pros at this. And we would just want to change its text. So heading.textContent, which we know can be used to either read or write the text content of an element. And we will just change it to something else. No big whoop. So now we have a variable and we have a function, but that's all that the page does. It declares that variable and it declares that function, but it never actually runs the function. But we're not the ones that are going to run the function, are we? JavaScript's going to run the function for us when we click. So all we need to do is tell it to start listening for that click to occur. And we want that click to happen to the button. So button.addEventListener. First argument is what we're listening for. That is a click, the string click. What do we want to do when that click occurs? We want to update the heading. We do not, of course, say open close parentheses here, because that would actually execute it as soon as line 8 is interpreted and put the return value in there, which would be undefined, and that is not what we want to happen. We're not the ones responsible for calling update heading. We're just telling it to listen for the event and call update heading at such time as the click occurs. Does it work? Don't forget to refresh. Heck yeah, it does. Go us. We handled a very simple event, and we changed the text content of an element. So incidentally, when a function serves this particular role, when the function is what happens in response to an event, we call those functions event handlers. So the event listener is listening for this thing to happen, and then it calls the event handler. There's nothing special about this function that makes it an event handler except that it is happening in response to an event. So if I use the term event handler, that's what I mean. A function that runs in response to an event occurring. So just a little bit of vocabulary. So this is good. We got a little piece of the homework done. It is worth committing this before we move on so that we have this saved as basically a checkpoint in our history that we could get back to later if we needed to. So let's do that. We will explain more about how Git works in class today. But for the moment, let's just do the steps that we learned yesterday to add this to our repository. So first, git add dot stages our changes, and then we need to actually make it a permanent part of our history with git commit. More about what exactly that means. So we need a message for this. What did we do? Update the heading when the button is clicked. Now we've committed it to our history, but it is still only on our laptops, and in the event that our laptops should shatter in the middle of class, which happens from time to time, we would lose our work. So let's make sure it's also on GitHub, and for that, I type git push.
It says that. Yeah, so did I do it right?
It did. It said what mine said?
It says like counting objects 100% 505.
Yep, you're good.
Ooh, buddy. All right.
Okay.
That took all night last night.
Okay, cool. Anyway, questions so far? Are we good? All right, groovy.